to the channel and welcome to a little recap. In today's session we're going to hit legs, and as you can see by the title, we're just going to use a couple of different variations of particular movement patterns. So what we've got set up here in the gym is we've got the barbell up here. You can also replace it with some heavy dumbbells, it's up to you, but we're using the barbell for what we call a cyclist squat, which we'll go through in a second. We're then going to move from the cyclist squat. We're going to come into a variation of a Cossack squat. Basically, we're going to hit the adductor, going to go from obviously that teardrop, that VMO above your knee and quad dominant into, I suppose, a variation of quads plus your adductors inside with the Cossack squat. From there, we're going to come into a variation of a weighted burpee. And then the final thing is we're going to use a little band that we've got set up here for a couple of different variations. So let's just go through what we did with each one. The whole idea of this is with the cyclist squat, we're going for 5 reps. Moving on to the Cossack, you're going to go 6 each side, so 6 and 6. With the burpee, it's 8 reps. And then the final thing with the band, it's 16. It'll be 16 each leg. Okay, so 5, 6, 8, and 16. They're the numbers that we need to, if you get them, they'll be in the description below. First things first, we're going to come on to the barbell. The first with our cyclist squat is we're going to simply come in. We've got a plate. You may use a slant board for those who've got the slant board, but basically it's heels elevated and, excuse my head come off the screen, heels elevated and my feet are narrow. So I'm in my front squat, I've got my barbell here and I'm coming down full range. I'm not necessarily bottoming me out, I'm going to come down close to bottom and I'm going to squeeze back up. So therefore we're focusing on this little guy through here. As we come down, he's taking a little load and we're standing up nice and strong. The second variation of that is a 1 1/4. So we're going to come down, we're going to come up, down, and straight back up again. So that's the second variation. So we're going to go a full, next time back, a 1 1/4. We're then going to go a 1 1/4 again for the third time. And then we're going to come onto the fourth variation. We're going to go and hit a front foot elevated reverse lunge. So that's what the second plate is for. I'm going to stack the plates so that I'm now in a much higher position. I'm going to simply start up here in the front rack. I'm going to step back nice and gentle. I'm just going to get that position and I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to keep stepping back. I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to go down. I'm bringing my knee down to where it almost touches the plate. And for me, foot right on here, I don't have long legs. I can feel the knee just touch the plate. I'm coming back up. Now, in that's the case, we're going to go 5 left and 5 right. And then the 5th round, we're going to do 5 rounds of everything. We're going to come back to the narrow stance cyclist squat. That's movement number 1. Again, you'll see the write up below with the sequencing. Coming into number 2, we've got our Cossack. Now the first variation of the Cossack, move these plates out of the way. You're going to take a single dumbbell. In this case, I've got a pair of 25s, they're a bit heavy. My Cossack, obviously, I'm here, I'm driving back, one toe is up, I'm driving back the weight through this heel. You have a tendency to lean forward. So the dumbbell, well, actually, if you pull it out here a little tiny bit, will act as a counterweight and let you get back. If you need to bend your knee because you don't have great strength for your adductors, that's fine. Or just come down. If your range is this, that's fine. If you're great and you can handle the weight and you're all the way down here, that's also fine. First variation, single arm dumbbell, weighted onto the side that you're going to go your glutes to the floor. So this side, and I'm coming down, and I'm simply just using this other arm for balance. I'm going to go 6 right, change over, 6 left. Second variation, I'm going to take the same hand. This time, I'm going to let the dumbbell come down between my legs. So therefore, I'm going to simply come down, then I'm placing the dumbbell in between the floor. Now what that'll do, that will pull you forward. I want you to try to drive your hips forward and just come down to where you can to, and stepping back up. So single arm like a deadlift. Third variation, we're going to come into a goblet squat. Okay, I'm going to come into a goblet squat variation. In rounds 4 and 5, you mix up the ones that you feel comfortable with. I stayed with goblet for round 4, and I went back to front rack for round 5. So that's the Cossack. The dumbbell burpee, simply straightforward as it stands. Pick the dumbbells up, place the dumbbells down, come all the way down on the floor, stand, feet together, stand, pick up the burpee, place them down, repeat. So simple, stand with the dumbbells, repeat, go back down for a set of 8. Second time, we did a dumbbell burpee with a clean. So when I stood up, I cleaned the dumbbells, put them back down, went back down. Okay, so that's the second variation. Third variation, I went into a front squat. So as I stood, I cleaned, took a step out, down from my front squat, back to here, down, and went back. And then I just reversed the pattern again. I went back to the simple clean, and then the final one, just a simple dumbbell, stand, burpee, and repeat. Okay? The one that's the challenging one is the band. Okay? So you're going to find yourself a band. I happen to have a little tiny power band here. A bit awkward with the handles. I didn't have a complete loop. I busted them all. So what I simply did for the hip flexor type activity, I simply did some banded hip flexor work. So first things first. Number 1, I pulled away. I put the band around, and I simply did a straight leg raise. Now, if you need to bend your knee a bit, bend your knee a bit. The leg that's raising, hip flexor is going to do the work, but your glute on the opposite side will do a lot of stability work. So again, so first one is front. Second time, I simply did, I get abduction and adduction mixed up, but basically away from the body. I think that's abduction. My daughter will tell me off for this, but basically it's here, and it's a lateral raise for the third one. Okay, for the fourth one, I simply did like a step up. Okay, so I simply did a step up. So I got them here, I stepped up, and then I tried to extend. So I got 2 movements, down, step up, a little bit of a leg extension, and down. And what that's doing, not only is it hitting my hip flexors, but it's also hitting my calf. Now, I didn't do any donkey kickbacks because I'm focusing on a forward and a lateral position. So then obviously after that third one, I went back to the lateral sides, and then I went back to the forward one for the final set to get me the 5. Now, what I did for a bit of a finisher, or see people call it finisher, burnout, whatever it is, I simply used the box, and I did a variation of a leg extension. So what I did is I set the box up nice and tall for me so that my feet are not dragging. I don't have to use a big weight. The legs have already been smoked a little tiny bit. I simply grabbed myself a 15 kilo plate. I came up onto the box, and again, like I would be sitting in the machine, I've had my legs up nice and tight here against the box. I've then put the plate down through here. It's sitting basically in the crux of my feet, and I simply just did a short form variation. I didn't come all the way back all the time because otherwise the plate would fall, but you could do that and put your hands here. But basically I did 3 sets of 25. Now it's a high volume, but it's also it's a low weight. If you're at the gym, you'd probably do significantly more on the leg extension, and you'd do maybe 6 sets of 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. In this case, a lighter weight, just keeping it going and just focusing on going through here and the squeeze. And in this case, because I do have the plate here, I'm not flexing here. I've got to flex and pull my toes back so the plate doesn't come off. So therefore, not only am I engaging here, but I'm also engaging my calves at the same time. And what that does, it also puts emphasis on the outside of my quads, where if I just go here, I probably find it's more adductor related, whereas here I'm doing this, and I'm also keeping a bit of a V. I'm coming to the outside. So that's it. So just to recap, the cyclist squat, the variations, which I'll write below, 5 sets of 5. Okay. Coming into the Cossack, 5 sets of 6 each side. The dumbbell burpee, 5 sets of 8, and then into the banded hip flexor type extensions, going into 5 sets of 16 on each leg, and therefore the band is obviously not that tight to allow me to I get to about 12, and then that's where the work is, the final 4. Now, if you're doing this at home, ruck or sandbag, you can still go front rack with your sandbag. If you don't have a plate, you can find a step. In my case, I've got a bit of a lip coming into the garage, which is what I do when I'm training some of the mums that I train, and they will put their heels on the slope. You can find little bits of blocks of particle board, council cleanups coming up around your areas. Go out the front, you'll see a bit of 2x4, but basically something to elevate your heels about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. The slant board will elevate significantly more, subject to the type and the brand that you've got. So you can use your ruck for that. For the goblet, what I would do is I'd simply put the ruck on my back, or my sandbag on my shoulders, and I just simply stick with the backpack version of your Cossack squat. Your burpee, same, just simply get down and stand up, get down, stand up, be more like you're doing a burpee deadlift, because the ruck or sandbag will be placed in front of you. And if you don't have this thing here, the leg extension, then what I simply want you to do is this. I want you to find a spot. I want you to find a spot and just simply pretend. Now, as you can see here, I'm just going to go tight. I'm going to tighten everything up, and I'm going to tighten, and I'm going to come back. I'm going to tighten, and everything's going to come back. So all this, guys, all this is on. It's on. It's turned on. Quad is turned on, and I'm going to make it like I'm pushing really, really hard. And I can do that from my variation of my extensions. You may want to switch it over. You may have a band. You may want to work on your hammies instead, and therefore you can lay down, put the band around your ankles, and you could do laying hamstring curls. I didn't do that today because that's coming up in a workout in about 2 or 3 days' time. There you go. As for the finisher, simple. The easy way to finish this off is walking lunges. 25 each leg. Boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. Keep going. Resist the urge of stopping. Just treat it like step, 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 step. Like you see those robots doing. Boom, boom, boom. Knee doesn't have to strike the floor. Just got to get it down low enough. Head up, chest up. If you have to, put your hands on your hips, but just pace them out. You're going to get to around 15 or so, and then you're going to start to feel it in that last 10 on each leg. But that's it, that's the workout. Sorry for cutting the head off in this video. I'm using the box today. I normally have it the video on, but that is it. That is the write-up. See the details below. If you want to know any more, want to know what we do, stuff, how we program, want to get involved in the program, whether you live near me, I'm in Willoughby in New South Wales in Australia, please come. Little gym here, private, out the way, not busy, not full of stupid classes or idiots and imbeciles who just don't wipe up after them. Then by all means, looking for some more clients. And also too, we do the program in what we call a remote capacity. I'm not going to say online because it sounds cheesy, but a remote capacity where, yep, you get to have dialogue with me during the week, and we deliver all the workouts through a variation of means, but basically a means that will suit you so that you can get the work done. That's it. My name is Dom. Please like, please subscribe, please tell a friend.